So, one of the things we look at as lawyers in terms of negligence is what would a reasonable person would have done in a situation, right? We have to prove someone's negligence every step of the way, from the moment we file a lawsuit, all the way through the discovery period of litigation, all the way to trial. And essentially, it comes down to would a reasonable person have done something or not have done something? For example, a reasonable person doesn't drive drunk. A reasonable person doesn't drive on the wrong side of the freeway. A reasonable person stops at a traffic control device, such as a stop sign or a red light. And that's some of the things we look at, especially, for example, in car accident or truck wreck claims. What would a reasonable person, AKA the driver, should have done or would have done in the same scenario? And, that ties in heavily into essentially what is the negligence standard in Texas, which in Texas, if we go to trial in a case, the negligence standard is a preponderance of the evidence. So we're looking at a 51% was someone negligent in a situation.
And the reasonable person standard is always going to be fact specific. For example, what the way that a reasonable person would drive a car when it's pouring down rain and you can barely see right ahead of you versus on a clear day are going to be different. For a situation where a company is allegedly negligent, it would be what would a reasonable company have done in this situation or not done. And the people that ultimately get to decide whether someone was acting in a reasonable way or not are in a jury trial, the jury. They get all the evidence. And the first question they're usually asked is, was this person or this company negligent? And they get provided a legal definition of negligence. And the idea behind that is that, 12 people from all different walks of life that may not have much of anything in common, especially nowadays, their collective wisdom together is the best measure of what is reasonable. What in our society do we consider reasonable conduct versus unreasonable conduct? And, the whole idea of the justice system is we as a society decide, is running a red light reasonable? Is driving drunk reasonable? And if somebody was hurt because of unreasonable actions, we as a society, give that person compensation to put them back in the position they would have been before they got injured. Um, if you find yourself in a situation where you've been injured and you are not sure if the person or the company that caused the injury may have violated a rule or a law, please feel free to give us a call. We're here anytime. We offer completely free, completely confidential case evaluations to discuss your situation more in depth with you and your possible options.